based on city charter and other.
Good evening, Bridget. It's 6:31. I was going to call the meeting of the Fairview Park Board of Control to order. Director Costello, if you could take the roll, please.
Mayor Cooney,
Here.
Director of Law Riley,
Here.
Director of Finance Single,
Here.
Councilmember William Minnick,
Here.
and myself. Thank
Here.
you.
Okay, we have the minutes from the December 7th meeting that they were distributed. Are there any changes, additions, corrections? If not, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, Councilman Minnick, thank you.
Second.
A second from Director Single, thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, so the minutes have been approved. The first item on tonight's agenda is Lorraine Road Loan Program for Fabric Showcase, which is located at 22012 Lorraine Road. Director Costello.
Thank you. As you may recall, since 2018, the City of Fairview Park has offered the Lorraine Road Loan Program. It was financed through the county funding through their performance grants program for $150,000 and another small portion from the City of Fairview Park. These forgivable loans are issued to small businesses that are using SBA loans to make improvements. And so this particular request is from Fabric Showcase, Mayor Cooney mentioned. They would like to purchase their building located at 22012 Lorraine Road and expand their existing operations in the construction of a larger showroom. Their request is for $14,700 in a loan that would convert to a grant upon successful completion of the project. The applicant, Samuel Bajanac, I think I butchered that, is a current tenant of the building and has secured financing and has begun the purchase process. So if there's any questions about this program, the Lorraine Road program or Fabric Showcase, I'll be happy to try to answer those questions for you.
Mary Kay, I have one question, if I could. Do you know
Yes.
the balance of what's left in the Lorraine Road storefront renovation project? I meant to ask Monica that earlier today, and I didn't see her. I know we used some of that money, or I believe we used some of that money in 2020 to help businesses in the community during the pandemic.
We did, and it's an excellent question. So we used a lot of this funding with permission from the county for micro grants, just small grants up to $5,000 to help businesses finance gap time between securing PPP or EIDL loans. So we have currently $26,500 left, which may increase a little bit as one loan is being repaid because the project didn't go through to fruition. And so, but at this point in time, we have $26,500. And after we discuss this loan program in the next item on this, we should still have $2,000, just a little bit over $2,000 left after both of these projects, if they're approved. And we are currently reaching out to our county representative about funding, additional funding for this program. So we'll advise, and update you as we hear more about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Comments? There being none, I would take a motion to approve this item.
So moved.
Director Riley, is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Minnick? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the item's been approved. The next item on our agenda is, again, relates to the Lorraine Road Loan Program for Omar's Pizza Mediterranean Grill, which is at 22250 Lorraine Road. Director Costello?
Thank you. This request is for funding exterior improvements, adding an outdoor dining patio with outdoor seating furniture, a new sign, and a new entrance vestibule, just like a weather protecting vestibule, and an interior carryout station with counter for a server kiosk for takeout. This loan is for $9,588 and again converts to a grant upon completion of the project. The applicant is the operator of the restaurant. Her name is Kathleen Canan. And she has been to Planning Commission, as the mayor and Councilman Minnick may recall, for the outdoor patio. She will return for the sign. It was mentioned at planning, her last planning visit, her, I should say, planning item under review, but she would return for completing the design on that sign.
Well, that's correct. She was at Planning Design. They had a nice plan, I thought, for the outside. I think there were some suggestions from the commission on the location of the sign, but we're happy to see this potential improvement. Any questions, comments?
I have one, Mayor.
Okay.
To Mary, I probably should have asked it in the first request. Mary Kay, has the county reviewed both of the applicants, or do they not need to?
We have not had the county review them in the past. They've always relied on the city to just keep the documentation about what was granted and why.
So the two requests tonight fit within the parameters of the loan program?
Yeah, some of the previous program loans that converted to grants, one was for Gunselman's, Gone to the Dogs, and Draco, the office building at the corner of West 210 in Lorraine, was a third successful project. So in keeping with those projects, these we are confident fit the very broad parameters being provided to us by the county for this type of loan/grant program.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And Gone to the Dogs was involved a purchase agreement as well for their building, as a side note.
Any other questions or comments with respect to this item? There being none, I would accept a motion to approve item number 2 on the agenda.
So moved, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Minnick. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Director Single. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item's approved. The next item on the agenda relates to Smith & Obie and repairs for a rooftop HVAC unit at the Gemini Center. Director?
Thank you, Mayor. This unit was discovered to be malfunctioning during regularly scheduled maintenance. This unit was found to be needing a new heat exchanger. It needed a replacement for a bad condenser, fan, and motor, as well as a new igniter and flame sensor. This 2-day repair is rather expensive, and one of the reasons is that they've asked they have determined that it's necessary to use a boom truck to deliver some of these materials because the hatch to access the roof is somewhat small, and I would have to say I went up that ladder. It is too precarious to try to navigate and carry large materials or try to pulley them up. So I completely understand the need for that. In addition, today, as they were looking over the unit again to make sure that they can order the right materials, they determined that the igniter board also needs to be replaced. It's something that, you know, as they were just generally looking over and they were there to do preventative maintenance, they didn't quite pick up. And they, you know, did say that they were going to come back to do a more thorough look through. So they did need to add $817 to the project, bringing it to a new total of $9,100. Now, that might seem a lot, but they also told me that a new unit would cost $30,000, and that by doing this work, that they could anticipate a 10-year extension on the life. And I think that's a very good return on investment.
Director Costello,
Yes, sir.
does this cost involve the use of the boom truck?
Yes, this is an all-in cost.
Okay.
I
thank you.
hope. I hope. I shouldn't make that promise, but at this time, it's an all-in cost.
Thank you.
Mary Kay, then you're recommending to change the amount on page 2 from 8,265 to 9,100?
Correct.
That's the recommendation, okay.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments with respect to this item? There being none, I would accept a motion for an amended cost of $9,100 for this this work from Smith and Obie.
So made.
Thank you, Director Single. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Riley. All those in favor?
I
Aye. Opposed? Okay, items approved. Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So made.
All right,
Second.
Councilman Minnick. Director Single, I have with a second there. And I think we're right on the number at 6:45, so we can roll right on. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, everybody, we can start Council's caucus study session. We're all here. Is everyone good with the minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Missing.
Good job, Liz.
Thank you.
You all right, Liz?
Maureen was on here earlier, wasn't she?
Yeah,
She
on.
was.
Okay, maybe she's just got to call back in. Okay, here she goes. Sorry, I look probably crazy and puzzled because I was.
We have Maureen back?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we have two standing committee reports tonight. Councilman Minnick and Councilwoman Waring.
Yes, ma'am.
You're both set on those. Okay, legislation for first reading. Bill, you have 3 ordinances.
Yes.
Sarah, you have 2 ordinances, and Bridget, you have 1 ordinance.
Yes.
And then Bridget, you have Let's see. You have two, an ordinance and a resolution up for passage.
Correct.
Okay, so we're all set there.
Yep.
All right. Roundtable. Maureen, do you have anything?
No, there's nothing. Thank you.
Okay. Bill?
Nothing.
Sarah?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Bridget?
Quick question. I have someone interested in joining the Shade Tree Commission. And she went on the website, but there's no application. What does she do?
Just buy a tree and you're on.
Okay.
Good one, Bill.
She could submit an email to council. It's your appointment.
Okay.
On That's what I've had people do for interest in other positions.
Okay.
Yeah, have her reach out to Liz.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Greg, do you have anything?
Somebody just texted me, and I don't know the answer to this. Are they allowed to put bubble wrap in the recycling? Does anyone know offhand? I'm
I
sure.
don't think
No.
it's recyclable.
No,
Oh,
no bubble
No.
wrap.
No.
Okay,
No.
thank you. That's all.
They could jump on it and make noise, but they can't put it in recycle.
That sounds fun. Thank you.
Liz, do you have anything you want to share with council tonight?
No, just keep an eye out on your emails tomorrow, because I'm really gonna be sending the OVC filing information. I wanted to check on that date because I know sometimes between them initially releasing it and putting it out for the final version, they changed the due date. So I wanted to make sure that didn't change. And also a letter we received from the Northeast Ohio City Council Association for membership. So I just wanted to, it's probably going to be an email with a bunch of attachments. So just heads up. That's all I got.
All right, thanks, Liz.
Mhm.
All right, well, that should conclude our study session, and we've got about 10 minutes until the regular meeting starts. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, it's 7 o'clock. Meeting of council of the city of Fairview Park. Now called to order for Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Simmerly, absent. Mr. Minnick,
Here.
Mrs. Adler,
Here.
Mr. Cobain,
Here.
Mrs. Waring,
Here.
Mrs. King,
Here.
Mr. Berger.
Here.
All right, the chair will now entertain a motion to excuse Councilman Simmerly. Is
So moved.
Second.
there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on the motion to excuse?
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick. I'm sorry, Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries. Councilman Simmerly is excused. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of council December 7th, 2020.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to approve?
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of council December 21st, 2020.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second. Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to approve?
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries. Minutes are approved. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of council January 4th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on the motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries. The minutes are approved. We will now have this evening's committee reports. Environment, Public Works, Planning, Zoning, and Development, Councilman Minnick.
Thank you, Council President. The Environment, Public Works, Planning, Zoning, and Development Committee met via Zoom meeting on Monday, January 11th, 2021 at 7 p.m. to discuss three issues. Shade tree recommendations. The Shade Tree Advisory Committee recommended that the city code be amended to prohibit tree planting under power lines. Director Costello stated arborist Jason Knowles conducted an inventory of trees in the city and stated there are approximately 1,000 sites where a slow-growing tree could be planted under power wires. Motion this issue should be removed from further consideration was approved 7-0. Airport noise. With the online portal created by Cleveland Hopkins Airport to register noise, and the mayor stated administration receives very few complaints, a motion that this issue be removed from further consideration was approved 7-0. Lead paint safety. Mayor obtained information from Cuyahoga County Board of Health. In the last 10 years, January 2010 to November 1st, 2020, the Board of Health had 3 cases in our city. Since 2008, only 5 properties participated in the HUD-funded Lead Safe Cuyahoga County grant. Motion this issue be removed from further consideration was approved 7-0. The Environment, Public Works, Planning, Zoning, Development Committee concluded at 7:08. This completes my report, Council President.
Thank you for the report, Councilman Minnick. Now I have the report for the Local Government and Community Services Committee, Councilwoman Waring.
Thank you, Council President. The Local Government and Community Services Committee met via teleconference on January 11th, 2021, beginning at 7:08 p.m. Present were members of Council, Director Kemp, Assistant Law Director John Castell, and Mayor Cooney. Council discussed the issue of the Gemini Center membership fees. The city currently owes $17.2 million on the Gemini Center building, and there is a desire from council to establish a plan for ensuring the Gemini Center is not operating at a deficit in the future. The center, though partially tax funded, needs to be able to support itself and its debt service through its offerings. Council invited Director Kemp to outline his plan for evaluating the center and its future. Director Kemp outlined his plans for evaluating membership fees, policies, and rental fees at the Gemini Center. He plans to evaluate our offerings versus similar communities in Northeast Ohio to establish a market rate for the Gemini services. Director Kemp also plans to survey current members and residents to determine which programs best serve our community and identify those which might not be meeting the mark. Director Kemp is planning to determine the value of being a Gemini Center membership to ensure that any change in membership rate is examined, evaluated, and intentional. Council made the suggestion to Director Kemp that we should look into naming rights at the center. Council also asked Director Kemp to check back in late spring and early fall to provide an update on his progress. A vote to leave the issue of membership fees in committee passed by a vote of 7-0. Council also evaluated Chapter 707 and 708 of the Fairview Park Codified Ordinances. These chapters deal with our rental licensing and inspections. At this time, if a landlord refuses entry into a rental property, it can create a Fourth Amendment issue if the city cites the landlord for disobeying the ordinance. A change was recommended that the city update its code to include a warrant provision in the ordinance, which allows the city to request an administrative search warrant to comply with the ordinance. If the city is denied entrance after it has obtained a warrant, the city can then issue a citation. Council asked Assistant Law Director Castell to work with Law Director Riley and provide legislation for consideration before the end of the month. A vote to remove this issue from committee passed 7-0. Local Government and Community Services ended at 7:41 p.m. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you for your report, Councilwoman Waring. Okay, we'll now begin this evening's legislative agenda with legislation for first reading. Councilman Minnick.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to place 3 ordinances up for first reading.
Okay, will the clerk please assign numbers and read the titles?
Ordinance 2101, requested by Mary Kay Costello, Director of Public Service and Development, sponsored by Councilman Minnick, co-sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing McKay Engineering and Surveying Company to prepare plans and specifications and provide construction administration and bidding services for the repair of city streets in year 31 of the street repair program and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2102, requested by Mary Kay Costello, Director of Public Service and Development, sponsored by Councilman Minnick, co-sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Development to advertise for bids and the mayor to enter into a contract with the lowest responsive and responsible bidder as determined by the Board of Control for the work to be performed in year 31 of the street repair program and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2103, requested by Mary Kay Costello, Director of Public Service and Development, sponsored by Councilman Minnick, co-sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Development to advertise for bids and the mayor to enter into a contract with the lowest responsive and responsible bidder as determined by the Board of Control for water main replacements and pave resurfacing on Cromwell Avenue, Parkwood Avenue, and Bain Park Drive, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Clerk Westbrooks. Okay, ordinances 2101, 2102, 2103 are all placed on first read and assigned to the Environment, Public Works, Planning, Zoning, and Development Committee. Councilwoman Waring,
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to place 2 ordinances up for first reading.
would the clerk please assign numbers and read the titles?
Ordinance 2104, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman Waring. An ordinance amending Fairview Park, Chapter 707 of the Codified Ordinances and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2105, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman Waring. An ordinance amending Fairview Park, Chapter 708 of the Codified Ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Okay, ordinances 2104 and 2105 are both placed on first reading and assigned to the Local Government and Community Services Committee. Councilwoman King,
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place 1 ordinance up for first reading tonight.
would the clerk please assign a number and read the title?
Ordinance 2106, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a service agreement with Tech Computer Incorporated and declaring an emergency.
Okay, ordinance 2106 is placed on first read and assigned to the Finance Committee. Okay, it is now time for audience input on legislation that is up for passage. Clerk Westbrooks, have you been contacted by anyone with questions or comments on legislation that is up for passage this evening?
No, I have not.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we'll now have legislation for third and final reading. Councilwoman King,
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place ordinance 2066 up for third read and final passage.
okay, would the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2066, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance amending section 173.0501 of chapter 173 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fairview Park entitled Income Tax in order to renew the 0.25% portion of the current income tax rate of 2% dedicated to the resurfacing and rehabilitation of the city streets commencing January 1st, 2022 until December 31st, 2029, on which date the tax rate will revert back to 1.75% and declaring an emergency. Resolution 2020, oh, I'm sorry.
You need to call roll on passage of this. Thank you, though.
Mhm.
Okay, prior to call for passage of ordinance 2066, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of ordinance 2066?
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
yes,
Mr. Kilbane,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
The ordinance 2066 passes. Councilwoman King,
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place resolution 2022 up for third read and final passage tonight.
will the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 2022, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. A resolution submitting to the electorate at the primary election to be held May 4th, 2021, the question of approving the passage of an ordinance to amend section 173.0501 of chapter 173 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fairview Park entitled Income Tax in order to renew the 0.25% portion of the current income tax rate of 2% dedicated to the resurfacing and rehabilitation of the city streets commencing January 1st, 2022 until December 31st, 2029, on which date the tax rate will revert back to 1.75% and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Prior to call for roll, passage of resolution 2022, is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of resolution 2022?
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Resolution 2022 passes. And that will conclude our legislative agenda for this evening. We'll now have reports and communications from the mayor and his directors. Mayor Cooney, if you're ready.
Thank you, Council President Kilbane. Good evening, everybody. Wanted to update people on the NASA project. Commissioner Maynard and Inspector Greer have been up there a number of times throughout the week. The L building is moving along, and the K building, which is a larger building, most of the demolition has been finished, and they have begun framing in the building. So we'll keep you posted on that as things continue to progress. Commissioner Maynard informed me earlier today that BB Bop, which I'm told is Asian Chipotle, is had a temporary certificate of occupancy to allow its staff to get in there and begin training, and we hope to have them opening up here in the near future. I'd like to thank O'Neill Healthcare for their sponsoring a virtual book club at our senior center. We had some good interest in that, and we're hoping that it becomes a monthly event. And we appreciate their support of the senior center. We have received a number of inquiries from residents and others about vaccinations at the senior center. As of right now, that is not something that we've been approached by the governor's office about. I will be on a call with the governor's office tomorrow. I've been on a number of calls with other mayors and managers, and while his office and the Board of Health is keeping us posted on things, it's at this point in time, there's nothing really concrete with respect to our employees or our facilities serving as vaccination points. As it's been explained to me, in Cuyahoga County, there is a large number of healthcare workers who live and or work in Cuyahoga County. There's a lot of nursing homes and congregate care facilities, and that they're concentrating on those populations now, and they are going to be moving to the general population, based on age and health conditions here in the near future. But as it relates to more mass vaccinations, we don't have anything information at this point in time. If you do have constituents who have questions that will fall within the age brackets, they can call the senior center and speak with the staff there. They can help walk them through some of the potential sites and things that they need to do. The recreation department tomorrow at 6:30 will be the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting at the Gemini Center. That will be an in-person meeting. The Recreation Department is looking ahead at summer programming. Obviously, there's still some questions as to how things will be in the spring and in the summer, but they are looking, to possibly have scaled back versions of summer camp and Safety Town, and we'll keep everybody posted on that. The Flea Fest dates have been set. Those are June 26th and September 25th. I know that there was one late fall of Flea Fest, and it was very well attended. And I think they had some very nice protocols in effect for that event, and I'm sure that'll be the case in June and September. Recreation Department is also offering private and semi-private swim lessons. I spoke with Eric Dennis, who directs our aquatics program at the Gemini Center earlier today. He said we've had a lot of interest in those lessons, and he's seen a lot of increase in the pool usage the last few weeks. A lot of families using the facility, which is we're happy to hear, and that due to the nature of pools and the chlorine and the temperatures, it's a very safe environment. So we would encourage people to look into lessons if they're interested for themselves or their children. The basketball reservation system is still in effect. We've had some good feedback on that, and we'll keep monitoring that along with the COVID cases to see if any changes will be required. I'm not a pickleball enthusiast, but I know many people are, and we have that is going on at the Gemini Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings from 8 to 12. And we've had a lot of our loyal pickleball players coming back to play. And if people are interested, they could drop in and participate. The 220 Dominion project continues. There's some temporary concrete pours that have gone on there, and those are all temporary due to the weather. There's certain things they can't do now. They will be back in the spring to tidy all that up. We ask for people's patience as they're with respect to this work. If you're aware of anybody who has any concerns about the work zone or any other things that are going on there, please reach out to Director Costello or myself, and we'll be happy to help them navigate those issues as this moves along. And then finally, I would like to congratulate firefighter Cal Knowlton and firefighter Doug Sadowski for successfully completing their probationary period in the fire department. They started early last year, so it was quite a baptism by fire, no pun intended with respect to that. But I've seen both Cal and Doug working here out in the back of City Hall and other parts throughout the city. I'd like to congratulate them for all their hard work, as well as their fellow firefighters who helped them through the training period. And we wish both of them very long and safe careers here at Fairview Park. Council President Kilbane, that concludes my report. Thank you and have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Cooney. Director of Public Service and Development Costello.
Thank you, Council President. I want to mention that our crews are out cold patching potholes in the streets. Please watch out for their work zones. They're also out fixing plow damage along the roads and tree lawns preliminarily, and we'll be back in the spring for seeding, making sure those are all tidied up. I'd like to thank them, also our service personnel, for the lovely Christmas display that they put up and took down in rather cold temperatures. It made everything festive. But also I'd like to thank our residents for recycling their old Christmas lights. That was very successful. We'll be taking those recycling containers down and taking those old Christmas lights to the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District for recycling. And thank you to the Cuyahoga County Public Works Department. There was an emergency repair on 220 last week. These things always seem to happen right when school's coming back after a holiday break, and right in front of Gillis Sweep. There's just never good timing for that. So the County Public Works folks rearranged their schedules and work orders to make that repair happen for us very quickly, and completed before school is back in session, and avoided a lot of traffic problems and backups and congestion. So we really appreciated that extra effort. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Council President Kilbane. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Director Costello. Finance Director Single.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Department is continuing to work on the 2021 budget. Also, the 2020 audit has started. As we move through the audit, we will continue, or we will keep council updated as to the progress of the audit. And that concludes my report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Law Director Riley.
Thank you, Council President. Nothing this evening.
Thank you, Director. City Engineer Kerber.
Thank you, Council President. Tonight, I would like to report that we've completed the field work for the 2021 waterline project on Bain Park, Parkwood, and Cromwell, and we'll continue working on preparing and finalizing the plans. We've also submitted the final plans for the West 210th resurfacing to ODOT and are awaiting their authorization to bid the project. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for our public session. Clerk Westbrooks, have we been contacted by anyone, or is there anyone online now that would like to speak to council and the administration this evening? Liz, are you with me?
I'm sorry, I haven't received anything.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thanks very much. Okay, we'll have miscellaneous business and comments by members of council. Councilman Minnick.
Thank you, Council President. The Board of Control met this evening at 6:30 to discuss 3 issues. Lorraine Road Loan Program, Fabric Showcase 22012 Lorraine Road, request for funding to purchase building, expand existing operations, and construction of a larger showroom. $14,700 loan converts to a grant upon successful completion of project. The applicant is Samuel Bojanic. He's a current tenant of the building and has secured financing and has begun the purchase process. Lorraine Road Program, Omar's Pizza Mediterranean Grill, 22250 Lorraine Road. Request for funding for exterior improvements, adding outdoor dining patio with outdoor seating furniture, a new sign, an entrance vestibule, an interior carryout station, interior counter, and server kiosk. $9,588 loan converts to grant upon completion of project. The applicant is operating a restaurant, is also the owner, Kathleen Canan. Smith & Obie, repairs for a rooftop RTU unit at the Gemini Center. Requires replacing a heat exchanger, a bad condenser, fan, and motor. Also with the new heat exchanger, a new igniter and flame sensor are necessary. This 2-day repair will require the use of a boom truck to transfer materials to the roof that would not fit through the roof hatch access. This repair costs $9,100 and is much less than a new unit. It was recommended to make the investment in repairs at far less cost than replacement with regular maintenance. All 3 issues were approved 5-0. At this time, I would like to remove from further consideration of the Environment, Public Works, Planning, Zoning, and Development Committee the issues of shade tree recommendations, airport noise, and lead paint safety.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, the clerk please call roll on the motion to remove these issues.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mrs. Ware, Mr. Kilbane, sorry,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger,
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. The issues are removed from committee. Anything else, Councilman Minnick?
The Planning and Design Commission will meet tomorrow the 20th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. One docket item, 19384 Lorraine Road. Review a plan for exterior renovations. Also, the Fairview Park Community Council will meet tomorrow at 7 p.m. via Zoom. This completes my report, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Minnick. Councilwoman Adler?
Yes, I just wanted to address an inquiry to Director Costello. Director Costello, has there been any activity regarding the Westgate Earth Fair? I get inquiries frequently, so I was curious.
We have had an architect borrow the original plans for the development of the space. He wasn't at liberty to give our building commissioner any additional detail. I reached out to Pine Tree, the management firm, and to ask if there was any new information that they could give us about the status. There has been cleaning and other activity going on in there. So I can neither confirm or deny the rumors of anything progressing there, but it is promising. So I'll keep you, Mayor Cooney will keep you updated, and we'll let you know as we get further details.
Do you know, are these parties that you spoke of affiliated with Earth Fair, or are they just separate parties altogether?
This architect didn't divulge and doesn't have to divulge any information as to who hired him at this moment. He just requested the loan of the plans and gave us a deposit so that he could and promptly return them. So we're hoping to get additional information for everyone in the very near future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yes, and then I just did want to extend sympathies to Brian Simmerly and his family on the passing of his grandmother, Rita Ackerman. Rita did live in Fairview for a period of time and was a wonderful woman. So our sympathies go out to Brian and his entire family. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Waring?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Director Costello, first, I'd like to thank you for getting the issue on West 220th taken care of in such a timely manner. I was also going to ask you for an update on Earth Fair, but Councilwoman Adler totally jumped the gun on that. So I think we have our answers. And then I also wanted to take this moment, I'd like to make a motion to remove Fairview Park Codified Ordinances, Chapter 707 and 708 from the Local Government and Community Services Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, the clerk please call roll on the motion to remove these issues from committee.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Kilbane, Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries, the issues are removed from committee. Anything else, Councilwoman Waring?
No, thank you, Council President.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman King?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Berger?
Yeah, so I got an email about Mastic Road Hill, and this was something that after the emailer made his comments on it, I do recall it happening prior to the bridge repair being done. So in a rainfall, when there's a lot of stormwater coming down, there's it almost looks like a little stream when you come down to the bend right before the light that puddles, and it kind of just streams across the road there. And the emailer said this happened before and it's still happening now. And, he's not sure if there's anything that could even be done on this. But the first thing I was thinking of is if we even have jurisdiction in something like that down there. And I'm not sure if anyone else is familiar with this, only when it rains. But yeah, that was my.
That'd be the county, Greg.
The county?
Yes.
If I may, Mr. President.
Yeah. Mayor Cooney.
So this was brought to our attention actually during the course of the construction. We prior to the construction, we had talked, Director Costello, myself had talked to the contractors about that issue up at the top of the hill and also down at the bottom of the hill. And then one of our inspectors, the inspector for the project for the city, Jim Mott, who used to work for the city, he brought that to the county and the contractor's attention. They did some work at the top of the hill to allow for better drainage collection. In the spring, there's going to be some additional sewer work. Director Costello can correct me if that's on the locations of that. I believe there's going to be some off the top of the hill and some at the bottom. But the issue where you're talking about, Greg, Jim Mott had mentioned that there used to be a ditch there that caught, that directed the water to a sewer that's near there. And when we had the final walkthrough with the county and the metro parks, we did talk about that and about correcting that, and really just doing some excavation there to create a ditch so that the water flows into the sewer that's in that location that he's talking about, closer to the parkway. And because of there's a lot of water obviously running down there after rain events in the spring and snow melts, it's probably something that won't be able to be attended to until in the summer. And so we did, again, talk with the metro parks. That is, I think it does fall into their jurisdiction, but also the county. And we're going to be following up with them, when the weather permits. So, and we appreciate the county, and talking to them about this issue. When the contractors were there and they saw the runoff, when they were actually working there, they realized how bad it was. So they did make some adjustments at the top, and I believe they will be willing to do that at the bottom too. So, so I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, and we'll keep an eye on it. I don't know, Director Costello, if you had anything else you'd like to add.
I would like to only add that this water is storm water that is flowing from the city of Fairview Park, and it has historically been a responsibility of the cities to manage some of the catch basins, but the county public works improved that catch basin that's just adjacent to this road so that it actually functions much better. And in the spring, when they have to shut this portion of Mastic Road Hill down again for some of their completion work, their permanent street marking, some fence work, and some landscape restoration, we're going to ask that the road remain closed so that we can come in, do a curb drain up at that top that the mayor described, and we need to redirect some of that Fairview Park storm water in partnership with the metro parks to protect their picnicking area and divert it to this newly improved catch basin area. So thank you it's a great question. Thanks for asking. We'll try to keep, that information in the public's frontal lobe as we approach the springtime, so that everyone knows that we'll need about 3 weeks for that work, for the county work and this work for the city to be completed. Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Council President.
Right. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. And then on another thing, this Friday we're going to visit the North Olmsted water treatment plant, so I'm excited for that one. And then the only other thing I wanted to say thank you to Councilwoman Waring for sending out the email about the school board and their outreach program in the search for the new superintendent. So I think that's a good thing that they're doing, and a good thing that you're helping spread the word. So thank you for that. And that's all I have.
Councilman Berger, what time's the sewer treatment plant field trip?
10 a.m. on Friday, the 22nd, right, Mayor?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Council President, were you thinking about joining us, or?
Yeah, I'll be busy at that time, Mayor.
Okay, because there's 3 of us, and I was just concerned if we had a majority, we'd have to stagger the.
Yeah, the county department of public works keeps me busy. So,
yes, they do. They got a lot going on there.
Yes, they do. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
nothing else to come before this council this evening, the chair will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Clerk, please call roll on the motion.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Kilbane,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Carries. Council is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice
Thank
night.
you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.